A Ukrainian flag has appeared on the Kinbun Spit, which is occupied by the Russian Federation. The video showing the flag in the area has been published in Telegram channels. According to reports circulate in social media, the flag was raised by the Ukrainian guerrilla groups who entered the area. However, these reports have yet to be confirmed. Meanwhile, pro-Russian sources have reported about Ukrainian armed forces activity in the area. The Kinbun Spit is a strategically important site located in the northwest of the Kinbun Peninsula, between the Dnipro estuary and the Black Sea. It is part of Ukraine's Mykolaiv region. The Kinbun Spit has been controlled by Russian forces since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Keith Kellogg, the U.S. President Donald Trump's special representative, who is on an official visit in Ukraine, has visited training sites of Ukraine's National Guard troops, local media reported on Wednesday. According to Ukraine's Interior Ministry statement, accompanied by National Guard Commander Oleksandr Pivnenko, the U.S. delegation observed the training of Ukrainian guardsmen, examining their military equipment and the advanced technologies employed on the battlefield. The delegation was shown how tank and combat vehicle crews are trained, including simulator exercises, as well as demonstrations of drones and robotic systems, the ministry stated. According to the ministry's statement, retired General Kellogg commended the bravery of Ukrainian troops and the excellence of their training, highlighting that Ukraine's battlefield experience holds significant value for other nations' militaries. We are grateful to the USA for the constant assistance that enables our units to effectively defend the country. Ukraine defends its independence and freedom. Together with partners, we continue to develop our defense capabilities, said Commander Pivnenko. Earlier that day, General Kellogg visited a memorial dedicated to the children killed in Russia's war against Ukraine during his visit to Kiev. Keith Kellogg met President Volodymyr Zelenski in both one-on-one and expanded formats in Kyiv on July 14. His visit follows Donald Trump's announcement on Monday that the U.S. would send more weapons to Ukraine and impose tariffs on Russia if there is no progress in peace talks within 50 days.
Part of the Russian elite took Trump's new ultimatum seriously, as well as the US's readiness to begin new arms deliveries to Ukraine. They are confident that Putin may, in fact, be overestimating his capabilities. Carnegie Russia Eurasia Center researcher Tatiana Stanovaya said that the number of dissatisfied people in Russia continues to grow. The Washington Post reports. Some Kremlin officials believe there was a moment when Putin could have sat down at the negotiating table and stopped the war, but he did not do so because of stubbornness and irrationality. Many in Russia were confident that Putin and Trump would be able to reach an agreement, but in reality, nothing came of it. Russia's financial elite is concerned about the future of the economy, which is already suffering greatly from sanctions and the cost of the war. One Russian official said Putin wants to see things through to a victorious end. This is despite economists and businessmen urging him to be cautious. The Kremlin is confident of its victory since Russia is supported by the DPRK and China. At the same time, last week, the Levada Center conducted a sociological survey among the Russians. It showed that 64% are already in favor of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. However, Putin and his entourage do not seem to realize that discontent in the country is growing. What matters to the Kremlin now is how much more territory in Ukraine it can seize. Trump's ultimatum to Russia has sparked confusion and contradictory statements in Moscow. The Kremlin and the Russian Foreign Ministry have responded in disarray. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov was the first to admit that Trump's statement had shaken Moscow. According to him, the American president's statements should be taken as very serious, and the Kremlin would conduct a thorough analysis of them. We certainly need time to analyze what was said in Washington, and if and when President Putin deems it necessary, he will definitely comment on it. Peskov emphasized, not hiding the fact that some of Trump's threats were addressed personally to Putin. At the same time, the Russian Foreign Ministry brought to the forefront Lavrov's not very influential deputy minister, Sergei Ryabkov. He tried to sound threatening, but his rhetoric did not impress experts. Russia does not accept any attempts to make demands, especially ultimatums, Ryabkov said, adding that if the US and NATO do not take Moscow's position with the utmost seriousness, the war against Ukraine will continue. Against this backdrop, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, known for his aggressive statements, suddenly decided to play the role of indifferent observer. He called Trump's threats a theatrical ultimatum to which Russia allegedly remained indifferent. Apparently, the Russian leadership does not yet have a unified strategy or even a coordinated rhetoric in response to Trump's ultimatum.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Russian leader Vladimir Putin is afraid of the United States. Zelensky made the remarks in an interview with Newsmax on Tuesday. Zelensky explained that there is a tendency in Russia to halt bombing Ukraine during visits by U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg and other White House officials. Zelensky linked the pause in U.S. airstrikes on Kyiv in the 2 consecutive days to Kellogg's recent visit to his country. General Kellogg arrived and there were no massive bombings for 2 nights in a row. This is a very interesting example. There were no heavy attacks this night and the previous night, too, Zelensky explained. Even people are already joking about it, saying that we should give General Kellogg a Ukrainian passport and leave him here and that Americans should come to us more often because then Russia would bomb less. What does this mean? That Putin deliberately bombs civilians, but when the Americans are here, he doesn't do it. That is, he intimidates, blackmails, creates tension, but does not go for a full escalation, Zelensky went on saying. He claimed that the presence of military officials in Ukraine prompts the Kremlin to recalculate its plans, adding that the Russian authorities pay attention to the military and political influence of the United States. Furthermore, Zelensky thanked Washington for its efforts to end the war, calling the U.S. role in the current situation a strategic key. It should be noted that retired U.S. Army General Kellogg arrived in Kiev on Monday following Donald Trump's announcement that the White House would supply Ukraine with missiles and weapons, including Patriot air defense systems much thought after by Kiev. In yet another move to bring Putin to the negotiating table, Trump warned very severe tariffs if Russia did not end the war in 50 days.